Estamos de regreso en Sopitas FM con un verdadero invitado de honor, Norman Cook, Fatboy Slim. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm great, very excited to talk with you. I mean, you're such a legend in the music, so I'm very honored to be talking with you on this Friday. So,
Thank you.
I want to ask you, did you recall when and how did you fall in love with the music?
With music,
Yeah.
yeah, I fell in love with music singing in my family car when we went on long journeys. There was no phones or anything to distract you. So we would sing. And just for a moment, the arguments with my brother and my sister would stop and we would all sing in harmony.
Okay.
And it was the power of the harmonies and us. And
Yeah.
and like I said, it's the only thing that stopped us from fighting in the back of the car.
Yeah. And can you recall when did you begin to DJ? I mean, you were playing in some bands and all stuff, but uh, what was the moment when did you begin to DJ?
I began DJing because I used to I was always a collector of vinyl. I always had a box of the best records. So I used to get, oh, excuse me, sorry, my cat's
The cat. So
um so I used to get invited for parties just for my records. And one day I said I don't want to bring the records because they get ruined. And they get covered in like cigarette ash and
okay.
spilt drinks. And they said, well, what if my dad hires these like double decks and you're in charge of the music? And so they hired these decks and something very, very profound and beautiful happened. I really enjoyed playing my favorite records to people and watching them react to it and sort of making them dance. And they seemed to really enjoy me kind of playing my favorite records and showing off. But that was when I was like 14 or 15. But in those days, DJing wasn't a profession. It was just a hobby. It's what you did if you had all the records. So being a musician for many, many years was my main job and DJing was my hobby. But then the world changed and the music business changed. And then one day I realized more people wanted to see me DJ than wanted to hear me play bass.
Yeah. I don't think so.
I
But
I also realized it's because I'm a much better DJ than I am a bass player.
yeah, totally. I mean, you must have an insane record collection. So what are like your most prized records that you have?
Um, I think my favorite ones are ones that other people have given to me. There was a time, especially during the big beat days,
Yeah.
where all my friends were making, I was friends with the Chemical Brothers, with Darren Emerson and Underworld and Groove Armada. And these were the people I was hanging out with and partying with. And then we would go, oh, and here's my new record. So when you would have like a test pressing,
Yeah.
like an acid,
Yeah. Like the
and it
white
would like
labels.
yeah, before the white labels would be like
Hey.
the testing, saying, oh dear Norm, here's our new one. It's called Hey Boy, Hey Girl, Love Tom and Ed. And I love that we would just swap records with each other, and that in those days my friends were making some of the best records in the world.
That's amazing. Also, you've been in the game since before digital sampling was a thing. So, and it's wild to see how far we've come. And I want to ask you, what do you think about sampling has shaped the music we listen today?
I mean, sampling for me enabled me to make the music that I love. I always loved the rhythms of black music, funk music and hip hop. But being an English suburban white man, I didn't feel it was my music. So the first band I was in was a pop band, because I felt that, a white English pop band. So I felt that's what I should be doing. But all the while as a DJ, I was playing, like funk rhythms and I couldn't work out how a white person would make that kind of music. But when they invented the drum machine and the sampler, it was like, oh, we can do it without pretending to be American or pretending to be black. And yeah, that sort of opened new doors. So that was the turn of the end of the 80s. At the end of the 80s, like it was like you could take the grooves of a record you really like and then put your own personality on it.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, you had this sample dispute with They'll Be Good to Me, Beats International. And that case, I think, broke you. And I want to ask you, how did that experience shape you, and what make do you of the sampling process nowadays? I mean,
Oh no, it didn't break me at all. No, it was just embarrassing because I'd sampled the Clash because they were my favorite band, and I knew they'd heard the record and they liked it. But then when it got to number one, they wanted some money, so it wasn't a big deal. I just had to give them some money, and through bizarrely enough, through them trying to sue me, we became friends. And and so it went from the embarrassment of being sued by your favorite band to then becoming friends with your favorite band. So no, it was all right in the end, but it was just in the early days of sampling, we didn't know what the rules were.
yeah, there were no clear indication, right?
No, and you put a record out, and then you'd press some 2,000 copies, and no one would say anything. But it's only when you have the big hits, and when the music gets on the TV or the film, and somebody goes, "Hold on, you owe us some money." And but in those days, yeah, it was kind of like the Wild West. Nobody was really in charge.
Yeah, totally, totally. I must confess, my heart skip a beat when I listen Role Model. That was also a landmark for Southern Fried Records. I think it was like the 500th release on the label, which is for me like an amazing success. So, can you share us the motivation behind this song?
Well, I generally I don't make records anymore. Generally, on my passport it says DJ.
Yeah,
And I travel around. I do like 100 shows a year, traveling around the world being a DJ, and I have a passion for that. I kind of somewhere along the line I lost my passion for making records, but Role Model was something I made to play in my DJ sets. And then I was playing it, and then everybody's going, "What's that? I'm not a role model song." And I said, "Oh, it's something I did. A friend of mine did the vocal." And so they said, "Oh, and so anyone said you should put that out." So I suppose that's the most pure and natural and honest way of making a record, rather than going into a studio and thinking I need to make a hit record,
yeah,
or it's just it was something I was doing in my DJ sets, and people wanted it to be a proper record. So that's the only way I kind of make records. I never intend to make a record. I intend to make a tune that nobody else has got, so that when I'm DJing, nobody else can play it, and then it becomes a full release.
yeah, and I think it's new music coming as well in the next weeks.
There's another one. There's another tune called "Bus Stop Please," which is exactly the same thing. It
That's
was
good.
exactly the same. I made it for my DJ sets, and then everyone was going, "Oh, that's a great tune. Who is it?" And I was like, "Well, it's sort of kind of me." So then my management, my record company say, "Right, okay, we'll clear the sample and we'll put it out."
That's beautiful. That's a great story to having you back. I had a chance to be on your first show in Mexico. It was 2002, 2003, I guess. That was
Was
wild.
that the really crazy one? Was
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
like,
Yeah, at
yeah?
Salon 21. Yeah, it was amazing. I think that was the best party I've been in my life. But as well, you playing in at iconic festivals. I mean, Glastonbury, you have played at Ibiza. You are curating your own festivals. Uh, so how does your experience on stage differ in terms of energy, audience size, and venue? I mean, when you're creating your mixtape or RDing, what factors did you consider to adapt to each unique environment?
Well, that's the great thing about it. Every night is different.
Yeah,
Every night you're in a different country, and it's a different crowd of people, and they don't necessarily know each other that well. And then hopefully by the end you're all like best friends, and it's that process. And it's different depending on the environment, if it's a big show or a small show, indoors, outdoors, really late at night, or only medium late at night. And so every night is different. And so I just have a kind of an idea of what I might play. And then as the show goes on, it's just like, yeah, so there's never really a script. I just react to how the night is going, and it's 50% me and it's 50% the crowd. They kind of dictate how the night goes because we have this conversation.
yeah, and nowadays, I mean, uh, it's obvious that electronic music has become very technological. Than the industry is driven by trends and social media. So, in this context, what do you see as the future of electronic music as well? Because you mentioned something very important. 50% is the DJ, 50% is the audience.
Yeah, well, I mean, that became very apparent during lockdown. You know, it was like DJs were doing streams, and
Yeah.
it's like a DJ without a crowd doing a stream. It's just a middle-aged man playing records. You know, without the crowd, it is just that. And people, you know, they try to, you know, do Zoom parties where everybody's drinking and talking to their mates. But there's something about the human, you know, we connect through music and we commune through music. And it's something very, very powerful. Something I enjoy watching it every night. I enjoy watching the way that human beings like to, it could be football, it could be religion, but music is one of those things that brings people together, and we've all got a common thought or a common desire, and it's seeing how far you can go with that.
Yeah, totally. You just mentioned football. Uh, I always that I see Brighton, I can imagine you must be very happy. You have had
Absolutely, yeah.
fantastic seasons.
Yeah, I mean, we've only been in the first tier once about 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
And for us to be in the Premiership, for us to be doing well in the Premiership, we got into Europe last year,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
first
yeah.
time ever
With
in
the
a
trivia, no? Yeah.
124-year career. We've never ever been in a European game. So yeah, it's exciting times. Obviously, the club are very dear to my heart. I was the shirt sponsor
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
9 years, and I'm still a shareholder. And so no, it's sort of really exciting.
Yeah,
Really, really.
that,
It's like
that
a dream come true for us.
that's beautiful. And as well, to listen your songs, your music in the warm up in the stadiums. I mean, that energy. I can recall maybe right here, right now, no, that it's in the warm up and all that energy that brings together people in another context as well.
Well, it's another context, but it's the same kind of emotions. It's the same triggers where, you know, something outside yourself makes you feel part of something, or makes you, you know, bonds you with the person standing next to you. If you both like the same team, or you're both enjoying the same tune, you have a shared experience. And, you know, obviously football's a bit more tribal. Football is a bit more about aggression and violence and winning, whereas raving isn't so much about winning anything, it's about losing. It's about
Yeah,
losing your mind and losing your inhibitions. So it's a different sides to the coin, but you know, it's the same thing. It's human, it's how human beings react to each other, and it's using an outside force to bring people together. Music connects us, and it's a beautiful thing.
that's great. Finally, I have to ask you, what's your favorite song that you have made?
Um, at the moment, it's a tune called The Journey,
Okay.
which is on the fourth album. Not so probably I probably like it more because I haven't heard it so many times. I mean, obviously I'm very, very proud of Right Here, Right Now, and praise you. I mean, my team comes out to Right Here, Right Now, the players run onto the pitch, and I get goosebumps, you know, and it's like 25 years later to still be getting goosebumps from that tune. I'm quite proud of. But obviously, I hear that so much. So The Journey it was never a single. It was an album track on the fourth album.
Yeah.
But check it out. It's quite a cool little rap track.
That's great. Well, it's been a pleasure to talk with you. Looking forward to your show on November the 1st. You know, it's Day of the Dead in Mexico. So I
I
should
am very
have
aware of that.
it.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm so looking forward. It's the first time I've ever been in Mexico on the Day of the Dead, so that's a real treat for me.
yeah. And we hope you enjoy it as well. So
I'm sure I
see you
will.
soon. Take care.
Excellent. See you then.
Bye.
Ciao. Thank you.
Es Norman Cook. Fatboy Slim se presenta el 1 de noviembre en el Pepsi Center. Ahorita regresamos para compartir todos los detalles de esta charla, traducir en español. Hablamos de la música, de su colección de discos, de cómo era la música electrónica previo a los amplios, por supuesto, de fútbol también. Y bueno, ¿cuál es su canción favorita de Fatboy Slim? Justo. Vamos con esta que es The Journey. Es Fatboy Slim en Sopitas FM.